guys, welcome. It is Wednesday night. It's time to soul wander, and we're so delighted to talk about our topic tonight. Wow, the timing, the timing. First of all, I'd like to welcome all of you who are already joining us. You know how happy it makes my heart when we hop on and the chat room is already full and you guys are all here hanging out. It's so good. Thank you so much. We appreciate your love and support. If you're new to our show, make sure you visit soulwanderings.com. You can learn more about myself, AJ, and Natalie, and learn about all of the things that we are up to and so many more things to come. You guys, the things that we have in the works. It's so good. We hang out at a place during the day called Vibes, Mind, Body, Spirit, where we assist people in their healing journeys. And that looks like all kinds of things. There's all kinds of ways that we navigate our way through this human experience. So check out vibesnow.com to learn more about that. And if you have a show topic that you would be interested in us discussing, we talk about topics every week. So email us your requests at connect@soulwanderings.com. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, AJ.
How's it going?
Well, today is, well, how's it going? Good.
Yeah.
I deepen my trust in my life. Life is always providing and guiding me and instructing me. And the more that I go with the flow, the easier it is on me. Doesn't mean that it's easy all the time. But
Mm-hmm.
grief came to visit me this morning and I had to sit with it, and there's a few things going on. And I always say this in my grief circles. It's like we all know when grief walks through the door.
Mm-hmm.
And I actively practice saying, "Oh, right now, okay, grief, right, come sit down. Let's have some tea and let me sit with you so that I can receive what it is that you have to give me."
Yeah.
And
I
so,
mean, how else do you grow?
right, how else do you grow other than
They say
leaning in, lean in?
the only way out is in, they say. I finally get it. Not sure I'm a fan, but I understand the assignment.
Yes,
Yeah.
wander into that swamp,
Yeah.
do the things. So for our listeners, it's like, well, the wisdom that can come out of my mouth sometimes so often comes from personal experiences that I pushed myself to go through.
Right.
So
Right.
that's and I'm good. Life is really rich. It's rich, and I spent this probably is some undertones to our topic, but I spent several years affirming a full spectrum life. And so what I mean by that is I put full spectrum living on a mirror, and it stayed on my mirror in dry erase marker. I don't know, it's probably a year and a half or so. And that was because I started to learn that I was an emotional person in a different way. So from human design, but I always knew that I was a feeling person, and and my decision making came from my feelings versus my thinking. And so I wanted to keep affirming my nature. I'm a feeler, I'm a feeler, I'm a feeler, I'm an emotional person. So I decided to just reinforce my ability to have a full spectrum life, and the full spectrum of emotional energy or emotional spectrum was part of what I'm here to be. So that is part of, I guess, if we're, part of our topic, it's like it requires a purposeful living.
Yes.
So that was one of the things that I do, which helps me go through days when I'm wandering around with grief a little bit.
Yeah, it's a reminder, isn't it? Like,
Mhm.
are you still on track? Are you still paying attention?
That's right. How are you?
If not, here's your reminder.
Isn't that true?
Yeah. I mean, I feel, yeah. Yeah. How am I? Um, you know, I'm not one to sugarcoat things. I'm not going to say I'm awesome and I'm so happy today because I'm not. I'm actually not. Um, but I am good. Just there are things that don't feel good right now. And so that's just where I'm at. And again, topics, choice and accountability. Yes, it's right in alignment with our experiences for the day. And so grateful. I am so grateful um, that I'm always being presented with teachers and opportunities for my best and highest good and my growth. And you just can't fake that. Like life is happening. Life is happening. So we're gonna allow that to happen. And this topic tonight, we're going to be talking about choice and accountability. And what a topic. But first, we have a question for you from Maria. Natalie, do you bury your emotions? And if you did, what age did you decide to reconnect?
So to answer that question, I don't really feel like I've ever actively buried my emotions. The things that I understood about my design is that my emotions actually run under the surface. So I don't have conscious access per se to my emotional energy. I often will read the fact that my emotions get pulled from another person. So to answer what did I do to reconnect, I one thing, because I really honor, well, there's a few things. One, because I facilitate grief groups every week, I just swim in an emotional ocean on purpose with other people swimming in the emotional ocean. So it's an always connection point for me because most people don't do that. Like go to a group where that's the whole topic of conversation. And then with this 8 years of living as an emotionally defined person in the human design aspect, I understand that when I look at people that know me and they look at me with some care and concern of going, oh, what's going on with you? I actually will lean into their awareness of me. I really have to trust the people around me to reflect back my emotionality to me because I don't see it automatically. I'll go along and like, I'm fine. I'm fine. And I really feel like I'm fine. And then people will be like, oh, you look really sad. And I'm like, do I? Oh, I must be.
Actually, actually, I am sad. That's how I feel.
Yes.
I just go along, and then I have to do a check-in, and then I'm like, "Wait, what is this?" It's not always heavy, sometimes it's like, "Oh, I didn't celebrate this win," or "I didn't feel this experience." I just moved on with my day.
Yeah. So to connect or to reconnect to your emotional self is to one, make it okay to be emotional.
Mhm.
Like just make it be an okay thing that you're having an emotional experience. Let that be
Mhm.
okay. Don't
Yeah.
decide anything from that space for heaven's sakes, but allow that you're having an emotional reaction to a person, place, thing, something someone said, whatever it is, you allow it. But it's very important to understand that a reaction, a strong reaction, that actually a decision can look like texting back to someone really quickly, saying something in an argument, like just learn to take a breath and stuff and experience the emotional energy and just don't decide from there. That's a healthy way to connect with emotions. Burying them is just really not a healthy thing
Yeah.
because emotions move. It's really like weather, so much like weather.
Yeah, I agree. But when you don't know, you don't know. So
Correct.
for my experience, like most of my life, we've talked about this on the show. Like, don't feel that. Don't cry. Why are you crying? Big girls don't cry. Like all of this conditioning. So you just learn over time to not feel the things that you're meant to feel. And over time, that creates the dis-ease in your body that manifests physically and also in your experiences and interactions with others.
Yes.
So, It can be really messy. Angela says, feeling some emotions, hold my beer.
That's right. A good friend of mine, she says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I slipped and fell into some feelings. Did you just fall into some feelings?"
Yeah.
Another thing I do to connect and allow my emotions to flow, I have used music so much. I just, music that has really strong lyrics, that are
Mhm.
emotionally charged lyrics. I've literally played a song that would milk, like pull out the crying in me over and
Mhm.
over, like 10 times through. I will run a song through that's pulling something from me. And I do this on purpose, like on purpose when I really need to support myself. So this is a choice. So this is part of what we're talking about, which when it comes to choices is that when you start to learn, that's not what I mean. When you live a more conscious, purposeful life, then you have the ability to choose into something. Most of us are really on default settings most of the time,
Yeah.
and not really wanting to be held accountable too much, not wanting to be responsible. And so, because if you don't want to be held accountable and you're not willing to step up and say, well, my part in this particular situation or that situation, or my part to play, if you don't want to be held accountable in something, then you really do limit choices and conscious living
Right. Right.
with those things.
Now you're full of wisdom tonight, once again.
Ooh, well, life will.
Life will deliver, as we say.
Yesterday in my group, I was like, "Ooh, I'm on fire! Stuff is coming out of my mouth." Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
definitely happening.
that's what happens when you choose and then step into my power. My hope, motivation is my power position. I just hope it all works out.
Hope, 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 hope.
Yeah,
And I'm over here like, can you just give me some peace, man? Like, I
right.
don't, I don't want your,
Different piece.
just give me
Oh,
some peace.
your position is like, let's just explore some unknown stuff.
That is one of
Let's
my
explore the
positions.
unknown. Let's go to places where I haven't talked about stuff yet.
So I think this topic is really like on par per usual. Last week we talked about spiritual bypassing, and I at some point in the show we had talked about Natalie, hold me accountable.
Mhm.
And you're like, AJ, hold me accountable. For this week, we're going to hold each other accountable. And then we already had on the agenda, but I wasn't thinking of it at the time that this was our next topic of choice and accountability. And here we are, like holding ourselves accountable for our role in experiences that we're having. And I just thought, like, wow, what a beautiful blend of going from last week in the spiritual bypassing and going into choice and accountability, and how the two can commingle, they can coexist together very easily,
Yes.
right? And I mean, everything in life comes down to a choice. Everything's a choice. Like
Mhm.
everything we do, like, oh, I need to get up and get a drink, or I need to answer my phone, I'm going to do this, or everything is a choice. Whether we're active participants in the choice or not, we're still consciously or unconsciously making these choices. And
You
how you
should say
said,
that again. Like, say
what?
that again. Can you say that again?
I'm not sure what I said. I'm just gonna, all the consciously or unconsciously making
Yeah,
choices. Well,
yeah.
because you bring up how people, and I agree with you, not everyone is aware, right? Because we're on this autopilot a lot of times. It's really easy for us to numb out to the world around us, because it is really heavy at times and there is a lot going on. And sometimes it's easy just to like not add more to your plate or make it feel like you're adding more to your plate. You're literally just doing the best you can with what you can, right? So that sometimes may look like, I can't look at this today. That's going to have to wait for another time. That's a choice. There's a consequence to every choice, right? We know good, bad, or indifferent. And so I think a lot of times we'll make choices that we're not aware that we are consciously making. We just make them even out of like conditioning or survival, or uh, just just because we don't want to look at it. So we just won't even, dive into that. Or sometimes we make the choice based on what we think other people may want us to choose. Or we make a choice because possibly we think that it will make someone else happy,
Mm.
right? And so there's accountability for all of that. There's actions of reaction to all of that. And I think we get so used to being on this autopilot, right? Because we're just coasting around life, and not everything feels like it is a choice, or that we don't have a choice, or that the choices have been stripped from us. But that's not the case. Like in every situation, there's always a choice. You still get to decide, and you still get to opt in or opt out. And that is up to you. And just like with every action, there's a reaction. There's the scales have to balance out somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times when we're in that space where we're making these choices inactively, when we're not actively choosing, we're just making choices on this autopilot mode that you're talking about, we get off balance, and we get to a point where we get so uncomfortable that we have to consciously make a choice because we don't like being uncomfortable. And that's when it starts feeling really hard. Or I don't want to do this. It's too heavy, because we've just added and added and added, and we haven't consciously made these choices all along.
Haven't been accountable to
Yeah,
our life, or reading the tea leaves in a particular way. Or
right. Because accountability is just like it's an answer. Is answerability a word? Answerability?
I like that you said, because you have to be able to answer for the situation,
Right.
behavior, those different types of things.
That's what it feels like, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to feel like we just have this situation going, and I'm trying to feel like on how to use it as an example, because it's such a live example without giving too much away or involving anyone else. But I I just feel like in life, when we have situations, right? And we are actively participating in our choices, understanding that they're not going to be in alignment with other people and how they think and feel and the choices that they're making. And sometimes um, we're forced to make choices that we just do not want to make. Like, we just don't want to make them
Right.
because we didn't initiate uh, the answerability, right? We weren't seeking the answers. Someone else was, but we're forced to make the choice. Do you see like what I'm trying to say? It gets muddy in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. And
Yeah.
we find ourselves in situations where, like, I actively made these choices, understanding, like, I made this choice because in that moment I felt it was for my best and highest good, or someone else's best and highest good, or best and highest good for the situation in general. And somewhere along the line that ended up not being the best or for anybody's good,
Or
right?
the outcome was unexpected.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, the
Mhm.
end result was not what you had anticipated,
Correct.
right? And so sometimes things are really just out of our control. And just because we're actively making choices, um, everything is energy, and there's a positive and negative to everything, because everything is energy, including choices. And so then the accountability is either going to be good, bad, or indifferent, right? We're going to learn something from it. We're going to celebrate something from it. We're going to be hurt by something by it. There's going to be a reaction or an action to the choice. Always. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Usually when people are like, but I don't have a choice. Yes, you have a choice. I think maybe you can understand in the world of grief where people are like really thick in their grief and whatever that looks like, whether the person opted out of this contract or whether it was an accident or illness or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, there's choices all along with that, right?
Right.
And the person who at the end is still here grieving that experience, that loss of somebody, they now have a choice. Someone gave them here here's what happened for me. I'm handing over my choice. So you can then decide are like I didn't have a choice that person died. They just died.
Right.
And it makes me feel A, B, and C, and it's not what I would have chose.
Right.
Well, okay, so what do you choose now? This is the end result of that choice. It still leaves you with a choice. You still have the choice. So the power is always still with you with whatever situation you have, whatever experience you're going through, you still have the choice.
Yes. It's in the now. It's always this responding in the now. And and even if you're simply choosing the attitude you take about the situation that you find yourself in,
Mhm.
that's something. I want to bring up a little um, something about responsibility and accountability. And I want to pull those apart for a minute.
Let's do
So
that. That's great.
we're not talking about a level of responsibility when we're talking about accountability. So if we take accounting and we put it in terms of financial, and we say that with accounting, when we account for like funds or things, it's just a review, or it's a laying out all
Inventory.
the, yeah, that's a good way to put it. You would know these terms to say you taking inventory is a way of accounting or having accountability of just saying,
Mhm.
okay, so let's just say that there's multiple players in any given situation, and most often people can feel restricted, like I didn't have a choice because this person was choosing whatever they were choosing. Correct. You don't have choice over another person. Your choice relies within your own framework.
Mm.
You didn't get to choose your parents, like in so many ways. You were birthed into a family, and there's a lot of things in soul wanderings that we say, I chose them before, which just says that, okay, well, if you chose them before, then your spirit self thought that that would be a great idea,
Yeah,
and your
then
personal
and
self
that's just
goes,
a belief.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. So this type of thing. So, but when we're taking an accountability and we're taking inventory, we're accounting for a situation, you're not overly responsible for the whole situation. That's unhealthy.
Mhm.
You're taking full, like everything's my fault, and taking so much accountability that you're taking all the responsibility is is unhealthy. And
Mhm.
that's not what we're talking about either. When you're taking an accounting and you're just reviewing, and this is all in my perspective, our conversation here is about how do we take this friction or resistance that anyone may be feeling in their life and reduce that. Choices, active choosing, and accountability helps reduce the friction that you're having with people, because it will reduce arguments that you're having, various things. And it
Mhm.
also helps you smooth out your ride because you start making more conscious choices. And then you're either buying into a thing, or you're starting to take some level of responsibility that your choices did have an impact on what's happening in your life. And you're taking an accounting and saying, oh, whoa, like some conversations I've had with a new client of mine, he's starting to realize that his choices had quite the impact on his relationship. And
Mm.
so he gets super entangled at the moment. And the entanglements and the wrap ourselves up on the axle happens a little bit when you
Mm.
start leaning into this type of things. And then it starts to unravel.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like when you go, I said this yesterday, sometimes you go into the doctor and the doctor said, you've got all these things going on and you leave feeling sicker than when you went in. Sometimes you listen to Soul Wanderings and go, oh dear, oh my goodness, I've got to clean up some stuff. And it's like,
Yeah, and even I feel that way at times.
Oh
After our
yes.
show, I'm like, whoa, I'm not sure how clear I was. That was a little messy. I have some cleanup to do. Like I have some introspection to do. Reflection. I need
Right.
I need to do some of that. Mhm.
Right.
Most definitely. But going on like the side, like we're talking about choices and what that feels like. Also on the side of accountability, like okay, I'm a big fan of accountability. We talked about this last week. Like, Natalie, I want you to hold me accountable. If you see something in me and you're like, whoa, girl, like I want you to look at that or feel into that, or I observe this in you. Like I desire that kind of connection and relationship with people around me. Um, Not like calling me out in an attacking way, but being like, hey, AJ, when you said this, it made me feel like that. Or, hey, I noticed that you've said this before, but your actions aren't really matching, like call me out. Because how else do like, we can only see so much of ourselves, right?
Right.
And
Right.
I think it's important to have people around you who support you and come from a loving, supportive place who can do that for you. And so I really like that the people I have around me are willing to do that. And I have been called out before. And I'm not saying I love that part, but I'm appreciative of that part because I think
Right.
it's important for me. Um, the thing about accountability, it's a journey of self-discovery, right? So when we can't see where we could improve or that our choices may have not been the best for ourselves or the situation, that's where I think it's really important to have people around you who can help you do that because accountability is all about growth. We're willing to learn to accept responsibility for our actions and the consequences. I just feel like there's so much potential for us in that space. Like, where else are we going to get that understanding of ourselves if we're not willing to like open all the doors? And I
Right.
think accountability is such an important process to your human experience, but specifically to your healing journey, to your growth journey.
Oh, for sure. And so, um, one of the things that's like niggling here in my brain, like it does, it says, okay, so if you cannot listen to the dissenter, to someone give you some dissenting, so someone that doesn't agree with you, and if you can't listen to that, so check your level of sensitivity. So sometimes we, as a human, as an individual, can be so sensitive to what someone is saying to us that we don't hear the information that we need to hear from them, and then we're not allowing an accountability to actually take place because we have a level of sensitivity to
Mhm.
feedback that says, hey, you didn't do that quite right. you know, Most of us do have an, an instantaneous defense mechanism, defend ourselves, and that our walls will go up a little bit. Or, for years, I had all my Reiki healing people would be like, what is up with your heart wall, girl? You got problems with your heart. What's up with your heart? And I'm like, I did that. Yep. I built those walls. That's mine.
Yes,
I
I'm
did
aware.
it. The feedback. So there's times where welcoming that feedback of the person that will say the hard thing to you, and to take a breath and to feel the sting and to watch your defense mechanism come up, and then be willing to lower it down and to take in the information and say, oh, well, if someone never told me that there was something that wasn't quite just, that's like, hey, you could tweak this a little bit. You could tune this aspect of you. You could do these other things a little bit different from my perspective, what I'm observing in you. Then to welcome that is to allow the growth
Mhm.
and to allow that. And that's the part of being okay. Now, a lot of times people want to just hold the other people accountable. I'm going to hold you accountable and I'm going to hold you accountable. And you hurt my feelings. And this thing that you did that hurt me. And don't
Mhm.
talk to me about what, like, just dish it out, but you can't take it kind
Yeah.
of thing. And so be mindful of that. Be willing to listen to the dissenter in your life. Ooh, I have someone. Oh, I have someone that will dish me up a plate of truth that I will sometimes say. He'll say sometimes, "Don't be mad about it." I'm like, I can be perfectly mad about it right now, and then it'll sink in, and then I'll be like, "Oh, that was really good information for me
Right.
to hear."
And also, just because someone calls you out, right, or holds you accountable, doesn't mean they're right. Like, you
Yeah,
can
that's a good
check
point.
in with your morals and ethics or your feelings. And if it still resonates with you with the choice that you made, that's okay. Like, it's
Yeah,
just an opinion or a viewpoint of another person. And it doesn't mean that you're wrong and they're right. It's just a different point of view.
right. We need different perspectives in our life. They
Mhm.
say if there are 200 people that are surround, let's say an incident or an accident that happened, it's 200 different perspectives that when you take all those individual perspectives and you assemble them, then you have this much, much bigger point of view. You have all these points of the view and then to be taken from that perspective. Now, oftentimes people will argue from their perspective because it's right. You face two people in a room and you say, why don't you guys just discuss what the room is? And then you can end up arguing about, well, the room is like this. And it's like, I see the room like this. And where they take two different parts of the animals. Like, it's a very common thing that'll be brought up in these kind of conversations to say individual perspectives can definitely be different and helpful. But like you said, it doesn't mean that they're right. You can take it under advisement and you're still your own person to do what it is that ever you're going to do. And
Mhm.
then watch what life serves back at you.
Right. What do you feel about accountability on a spirit in a spiritual perspective, not just a human perspective? Like, how does that play into our role as a spiritual being?
Oh, the thing that comes up, I always reminds me of the rule of three, that to be accountable for the energy that's coming back. So I do feel like energy has a feedback loop. So the rule of three says, ever mind the rule of three. What you put out comes back to you at
Mhm.
least three times fold. And so that's the part where I feel there's just this natural, energetic accountability that happens. So if your life will talk back at you. It will give you, and it's said like this, and this can be a very, very difficult spiritual teaching. You always get the life you deserve.
Mhm.
So I guess in terms of this discussion of accountability, if you take that spiritual teaching, and if it's a little painful, which sometimes it does, you mean I deserve this, and it's like just take an accounting and say little shifts in your behavior, in your thought pattern, in your choices can make a really big ramification or a change in your life.
Yeah.
It's little shifts. They call it the butterfly effect. The
Yeah.
butterfly effect that said little tiny changes make astronomical shifts.
Yeah. It's the ripple effect.
Mhm.
And sometimes it doesn't just like have a big wave at first and then go go softer. Sometimes it goes softer and builds. It can work both ways.
Right. Um, if you aren't spiritually, let me say it this way. This has come up recently in a lot of conversations that I'm getting on within my professional framework. where people will say, well, I love this person, but I would like them to be different. Then I say, no, you actually, no, you don't love them. You love an idea of what they could be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's on a spiritual, energetic level that said, well, oh, I love, this touching a little bit on the spiritual bypassing that we talked about last week, but in a deeper fashion with the choice and accountability that we're talking about this week, that said, oh, I love this wisdom, and I love to talk to this, listen to this spiritual teacher, or I follow this person on TikTok, and you're taking in all this spirituality, belief and structure and teachings, and then life will serve up the lessons for
Mm-hmm.
you to learn that spiritual teaching that you've been consuming. It's
Because
just the
we're
way that
such powerful creators. We
yes.
forget how powerful we are.
So it's like, oh, that's a really cool concept, spirituality. And then it shows up in your life, like the stranger that knocks on your door that's here to give you the wonderful thing, but you got to drop the obstacle to
Mm-hmm.
that. And so that's the part where I feel about with spiritual teachings and choices and accountability is sometimes we're not even accountable for what we're watching as the lesson. We just forget, we read this lesson or we do this. And my life right now, like I've been reading this book called Reckoning. And that is definitely something showing up. A reckoning is coming. A reckoning is coming. And I pick up this book about reckoning. And then I get some reckonings going on in my life. And that can be, reckonings can be good. It's like a conclusion of something. It could be wrapping up a particular thing that's been, for me personally, in my personal world, something that's been going on for like 12 years. And that's buttoning up and coming to an end. And that's a reckoning of sorts. It's like, how did I do with that situation?
Yeah.
Moving forward, two people moving forward in their life. And the life will just deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether you like it or not.
Right.
We keep talking about like the present moment, like here and now in this human experience, but have you ever like thought about the spiritual dimensions of accountability, like the choices that we make and the accountability we choose to um, work through or not beyond this human incarnation into like our soul's responsibilities and contracts?
Oh, yes.
Like how that ripple effect takes place, not just here, but even dimensionally or in other lifetimes?
So it's interesting if you bring up that particular aspect. Um, when I consider your question and I think about that, then it actually shifts me into a space where it's a little like no choice versus choice. It shifts me into like there's no choice
Mm,
on that level, because living it out in form, it's very difficult. Like we don't have that level of control from my perspective. None of us have a level of control of the ramifications of those interdimensional ripples or what's happening in the ethers as much. So it's
mm,
part of what it's like. We're living it out, and we're living it out
right.
as correctly as we can in this form. But the ripple effect is a little bit unknown and unpredictable in a way. So I find that it's hard to say I have a full accountability of all that. Now I have had a lot of experiences over the last couple of years of having some information, like having people that like we talk about the records and just tuning into the records a little bit and getting the information that the records that's deliverable from the
Mhm.
records to us, and taking that and incorporating it into the life has an effect. But that re- that first big Akashic Records reading I had, I realized that's like playing in the big leagues.
Mhm.
That's sort of big league stuff. That's like, okay, that's not to be it's not a joke in my, so
Well, and I warn
your
people,
take.
this is not for entertainment purposes only. When you get a
Oh, oh
reading,
no. Oh
you
no.
when you have the information, you can't unknow the information. Now you have a responsibility with this information, and like say you're given your soul's purpose. Now you have a choice, a known choice, right? Now it's there on the table and you can't unknow it. So
Yeah.
how are you going to show up with that information? The reason why I asked is because, because of the readings that I do, there are times that, you know, people will want to know, like, if I make this choice, how will it affect my life? Well, I'm not a psychic. Like, I'm not gonna predict your future based on a choice that you made. There's so many factors. But when we look in the records, particularly with like creator or God, like he or they or it, responsibility is such a big thing that comes up, like taking ownership of your role in the experience, good, bad, or indifferent, is so important for your soul's growth. It's one of the most important things you can do in order to, like, you know, elevate your soul's um, growth.
Oh, and the experience you're having. Like this is the human experience. So it's like, okay, so if you have a hammer and you give it to a 3-year-old, and if you have a hammer and you give it to a teenager, or if you have a hammer and you give it to an adult that master carpenter,
Mm-hmm.
each one of those has the tool or a piece of information, if you want to say it that way. And each one of those is going to have an action that's different with the hammer and a result that's different depending on where they are in their personal journey.
Right.
So there's some of that said, there's the take this information and do the best. But sometimes we're like a 3-year-old, or sometimes we're like a master carpenter.
Yeah.
And the universe really is a loving universe that wants the most and best for us. But it does squeeze us.
Oh, I'm being squozen.
It's just to get us where we need to go. That's it.
And I always trust that. Going
Mhm.
back on the spiritual bypassing topic, I was feeling on that in like the choices that I've been making in my life lately, and how these two topics are so similar. And the things that I say to myself, like, well, this is for my best and highest good. And I am learning so much right now, and I know that there's a purpose. And I say these things, and it sounds like I'm spiritually bypassing myself sometimes, but I really check in and I'm like, no, I truly feel that way. I really do feel that way. I do feel like, yes, sometimes this is so flippin' hard, right?
Right.
But on the other side, when we get through it, we're like, whoa, like I'm a badass. I made it through this. Like I did that. Wow. Way good job, girl. But you don't see it when you're in the thick of it,
No.
right? Because life is so hard and it's so heavy, and I don't want to make this choice. I don't want to be accountable for this experience. Like those aren't things that I want. Oh, but that's the thing, is we may not like want to make that choice, but we get to choose how we react to the opportunity to have a choice,
Right.
right?
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing. And I'm talking about, when I spiritually speaking, especially with the records and making those choices, there are so many scenarios that can take place with the choices that we make. It's not just black and white, and it's not just linear. Like, we make a choice and it can create so many different reactions based on your choice in all of these experiences, not just this one. And we just can't see that. It's just
Mm-mm.
unknown, and we're
Mhm.
not supposed to know. And so having like all of these factors play into our answerability. Our 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 accountability is just impossible. It's not a thing. You have the information with what you have for it right now. So
Right.
you get to make the best choice you can in this moment.
Hmm.
So yes, it does affect, I see it does affect us in other ways, but we can't worry about that stuff right now.
No.
Like those are other timelines, and they've either happened or they have yet to happen. And so there's nothing that we can do about it because we are here in this present moment. So it's really about being clear with your choice and what that looks like in the now.
Right. And sometimes a choice is not clear.
Hmm.
Sometimes a choice isn't clear, which means that perhaps there's no choice to be made in any given moment. So I want to bring in something that I've learned and understood over time. When you're smack dab in the middle of an experience, it's not the time to hold an accounting. So I know you do business, and it's like, well, you take an accounting of things for tax purposes at the end of a quarter, but not all the time, not every single day, all the time. But there's a part of thing that when you're in the middle of an experience, sometimes it's just about being in the experience, and that isn't a time to say, oh, pause, time out. We need to have an accounting right now for this whole thing.
Right?
And
Yeah.
it's like, no, 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 no. There's times where the experience isn't done. That we're not done with the experience yet. So we need
Right.
to go all the way through the experience. And then in business, they do these a lot of times where they have meetings from time to time that said what went right and what went wrong within the framework of something. And so um, knowing that it's the experience and that isn't necessarily the time
Mhm.
to have an accounting session is it's okay too. This is not, and just you and I, AJ, we're not doing this all the time. We're not always sitting there and going, just be accountable. Or if we are, we need to relax a little and just enjoy the experience.
Yeah, I've been working on that. I really have been working on that because I'm like, no, we need to take care of it right now. I don't want to have to deal with this tomorrow. Like,
Right.
let's do it now. And
Right.
and that's not that is not emotional clarity.
That's right.
Let's
It's
just
like,
say that.
so, and nor is it about timing. There's so much thing about timing. Timing really is a factor that's important to understand in the spiritual and energetic dance.
Yeah. Is there something behind my shoulder? There's something going on. Okay. Just give me a minute.
It's okay.
I'm about to burn some things.
Just making some choices there.
I'm making a choice to blow some things up. I don't know. This is something that's going on.
It's okay. It's good.
Yeah.
It's all education. It's like this is live YouTube, and there's no time off. If something needs to be blown up and smoked out, then go and do it.
Yeah. We're doing it. We are doing the things.
Choices. See, you're making an active choice to
Start a fire.
start a fire.
I will bless all of our wonders.
That's a good thing.
So beautiful.
Oh, your smudge blends are really incredible. You might as well just do a shout out for your little blends that you create,
Okay. Don't
Do
mind if
that.
I
Let's just
do.
pitch that. Sacred Raven.
thesacredraven.com if you're looking for ritual products. I have a lot of goodies on there for you to look around about and more on the way. I have some things infusing currently. Good stuff.
Oh, your infusions are great.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And we have a full moon this weekend. And so I like to really infuse them over the full moon and the week of in particular. So I made sure I got a lot of things made in the last couple of days so I can set them all out under the moonlight. I'm all about the moon magic. Got to have the moon magic.
Got the creativity flowing. See, choices and timing, and got to make choices along the way to meet that timing.
Thank you for the shout out.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I have vibes and I have Sacred Raven. So
yes. Yes.
good. It made me think of a conversation I had the other day. Someone's like, "Oh, you must really love your life. Look at the life that you have. You're so lucky. You're so lucky." And I'm like, "Is it luck?
Mm-hmm.
Do you realize, like, it's not just me, but when we look at anybody, the things that we go through, the choices that we make, the accountability that we receive for from ourselves or from others, and the results thereof. Like, am I lucky? Did this just land in my lap? I'm so lucky. Or did I make choices along the way? Did I decide, you know what, I'm not going to be a victim of my circumstance. I'm going to work hard and I'm going to heal, and I am not going to be what I was raised or what I was taught, or whatever reason. And this isn't about me. I'm just using me as an example. This is all of you. Like, you can literally be anybody you want to be. You want to be a healer, you want to create ritual products, you want to be a basketball star, you want to be a rock star, you want to grow a garden in the middle of a forest and be a fairy. Do it. Do all the things. Do those things. Make those choices for yourself. With all choices, though, there's light and there's dark, right? There's good or bad. There's got to be a balance. There's got to be a neutrality. So
Contrast.
yes, there's got to be a contrast. And nothing worth having came about just by making good choices, right? There had to be bad choices along the way.
Resistance.
That taught, yeah, a resistance. That I say bad, it's just a word.
Right.
That taught you what you wanted more of or didn't want at all. Like, it's a series of choices along the way. That's all it is. I don't have anything that you don't have or anyone else. We all can have whatever we want. It's all about choices.
It is said that those that work the hardest have the most luck.
Yeah, I guess it's what is
Well,
luck?
there's right. There's
You're
something
so
that I've seen.
lucky.
Well, there's something
Rolling
that
dice is luck.
that's true. Or playing poker. The cards
Yeah.
fall as the cards fall.
Exactly.
There's something that I've seen along the way that said, okay, that through refining your choices, through the feedback, through observing what your life is dishing you, through the patterning, through a lot of the things that we talk about on the show, putting all those things together, you start to understand that sometimes you're just in the wrong, the timing is just so off. Like my timing has been off before in my life. I'm just out of sync and not tuned really well. And so there is definitely something to be said by practicing proper timing through the choices.
Mm.
And there's be, there could be some things about choosing not to fly on a particular airplane or to not take a particular trip at a time where it just didn't feel right. And then you just go, this is another thing that we can talk about, like big choices. And a lot of times people make decisions or a choice to take a vacation. And as they get close to a vacation, it can feel not right, but they still choose to go. And so there's also this type of thing that's like listening to the life, and maybe the life is talking to you. Well, you go and it's really good, or you go and I remember a family. One of the kids was super, super intuitive, and she's like, I don't think it's good for us to go. And they went, and none of their luggage made it. They didn't know exactly what it was that was not going to work out well, but that's what happened.
Well, that's what trusting your intuition looks like, and then making a choice based on your intuition. Yeah.
Yeah. So trusting the fact that sometimes a plan is a loose outline of what you feel like. It's like we mentioned in the beginning of the show, where you have this plan or intention, and doing spiritual work says, okay, I'm going to set out this intention. So set out an intention and then watch what the universe delivers to you. Because in we're not alone in this play. There's a lot of actors on the payroll, a lot of other people that are interacting with you, and you with a lot of other people, and all those people are making choices and have their own energy and their own flow, and so it's this very big intricate dance among us people. So just your personal choices, well, everybody else gets personal choices too. And honoring that is a powerful way of living, to honor whether you like someone's choices or not. I mean, you don't have to honor someone doesn't mean that you agree. But there can be this understanding that said, another person that's around me is making choices as well that may affect me. And that's everybody's gets to make choices.
Yeah.
This is what we all get to do.
Yeah. Get to. Just think of, no, that's not even accurate. I was going to say, just think of other people in other parts of the world that don't get a choice, but everything is a choice. Because even if they're in situations that are ideal, they still get to choose how they look at it or how they navigate their way through it. So
yes, sometimes that's the only choice you have.
Yeah. What a great way to close out the show. Thank you very much. So good.
This was fun.
Well, it was right on time, per usual. Listeners, wanderers, thank you for being here with us tonight. If you guys have not already, make sure you like or comment or subscribe or follow. Do all of those things here on our YouTube and our Facebook pages under Soul Wanderings. And again, if you have a show topic you'd like us to discuss, go to connect@soulwanderings.com with your email and let us know, because we love hearing from you. Even if you wanted to say hi. We are really grateful to be able to interact with our listeners and our wanderers. And as always, I want to give a big shout out to our wanderers. You guys show up. Look at you. So active in the chat room and supporting us and each other. Really beautiful. Super grateful. Thank you so very much. Do you have anything to say before we say goodbye?
No, I think that was fun. I think we maybe covered everything that we can cover this tonight anyway.
It's really crazy when we have our show and then afterward I'm like, oh, I just caught this. This was really good. Because sometimes I'm here and I'm always present, but sometimes I'm not always online. Sometimes I'm just, I'm in this conversation, but I'm not always. And I get hits after and I'm like, oh man, that's a good one. I wish I had that an hour ago or a few days ago.
We probably gave it in the mundane landscape. It just wasn't quite that particular verbiage that came from the records after.
I'll keep showing up. Thanks for putting up with my blah, 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 blah. I love rambling, so here we are. Hey, everyone. Have a great week. We'll see you all next Wednesday, same time, same place. We'll talk to you then. Good night.
Have a good one.